Good evening. I wanted to talk to you about a topic that is unfortunately all too familiar in our society, a topic that hits home for many, and that topic is violence. One of the most recent headlines I've been following closely talks of a 14-year-old girl. She was skateboarding across a public parking lot in Fargo, North Dakota. She was going from her father's house to her mother's house, and unfortunately, she never made it. She was attacked by a complete stranger, brutally beaten, stabbed, and strangled. The reason I follow this story so closely is because it hits home with my family and myself. On November 1st, 2017, my son, who is also skateboarding across a public parking lot in Fargo, North Dakota, was attacked by 3 men. Some statistics I looked up while preparing for this speech. In 2017, the amount of victims in correlation to violence was 1,852. Just 3 years later in 2020, the amount of victims related to violence was 1,946, an increase of 94 victims. Now, why that may not seem like a lot for some of you, for me, an increase of just one person is too many. To give you a brief background on my son's story, he had just gotten home from the night shift, was skateboarding up to his apartment building as he always did, and as I stated before, was attacked by 3 men. They badly beat him, picked him up, and drug him to his car, demanding that he drive them to Grand Forks, North Dakota. Halfway there, they made a stop in Hillsboro, North Dakota, where they cleaned out his bank account, took the existing money left in his wallet, and stole his cell phone. When they arrived in Grand Forks, they demanded that my son drop them off at a specific spot. My son has no knowledge of that spot to this day. When the men got out of the car, my son said it took everything he had to drive to his friend's place in Grand Forks. He crawled to the building and pounded on the windows, hoping someone would come out to help. It wasn't until later, when his friend came home that evening, that he found the body laying in front of the building. He had no idea that when he turned the body over, it was going to be his friend Luke. In a panic, he rushed Luke to the hospital. It was then that I got the phone call. I rushed to Grand Forks, not knowing what I was going to see. When I got there, I held my son, let him cry, and I encouraged him to tell his story. I was fortunate enough to be able to bring my son home the following day. The family of this 14-year-old girl was not so fortunate. The reason I'm sharing this story with you is to help grow your knowledge in the respect that being aware of your surroundings in public is very important. So important that it could mean the difference between life and death. There are many classes available to people now, and had I known this 4 years ago, my children and I would have taken these classes so that we ourselves would have been better prepared if and when the time came. Who knows? Maybe the outcome would have been different 4 years ago. I encourage you to seek out these classes. Some of the options would be conceal and carry, self-defense, or violence prevention classes. I thank you.